Good evening. I'd like to call to order this special meeting of the Onalaska Common Council. Today is Monday, November 10th, and it is 6 p.m. I'll ask our clerk, Joanne Marcon, to call the roll.
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Jim Benash,
Here.
Kathy Lowendoorf. Here. Stephen Knott,
Here.
Mike Milkey,
Here.
Diane Wolf. Here. And Larry Jurassic has not arrived yet for the meeting.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is public input. This is an opportunity for members of the public to provide public input on any topic. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Would any member of the public like to give general input at this time? Second call for any member of the public wishing to give general input. Third and final call for any member of the public who wishes to give general input. Public input is now closed, and I will move on for consideration and possible action on the following items. The first item, number 3, is a public hearing. This is a public hearing on the proposed 2026 executive budget. It includes the budget for the general fund, the special revenue funds, the debt service funds, enterprise funds, capital project funds, community development authority funds, Gunderson Lutheran Parking Ramp Fund, and the tax incremental districts. If you choose to give input during the public input, please approach the dais or raise your hand online. Begin by stating your name and address. Is there any member of the public who would like to give input now? Second call for any members of the public who would wish to give input during this public hearing for our budget. Third and final call for members of the public who would like to give input during this public hearing. The public hearing is now closed. Now I would like to open. Now I would like to turn the budget over to the Common Council for recommendation and possible action regarding the 2026 budget changes, which are in your packet.
Do you want some motion before discussion?
Right. Okay. So Sabrina?
Is it all right if I talk about the changes and have one administrative change, or is that after there's a motion?
Yep. Okay. So, yep, there's a couple ways we can do it. So we have the proposed budget changes in the 26 in the packet, and maybe we'll have our finance director summarize those changes, what we have so far that we need to have updated. Go ahead.
Thank you. So the first one is the change to the levy to correct the amount for the parking ramp. There is a typo. So on the first line where it says Gunderson parking ramp, it should be 670, not 640. So my apologies on that. So there is a typo on that first change. In the second change, this was to remove the additional hours from the budget. We had originally brought forward 30 hours and this got moved to 20 hours, but changed the position from an LTE to a permanent part-time. The third one was to remove additional hours from the budget. Being brought forward was increasing hours for the record specialist as well as the admin assistant. But this did make the admin assistant full-time at 16 hours. So that is the change there. In sorry, what'd you say? Oh, sorry, permanent part-time, not full-time, my apologies. Number 4 was to remove the street worker from the budget. So that's the impact of moving that. And then the 5th one, so we always estimate the tax increment, still an estimate, but increasing that estimate based on the data that we've been given so far from the state. So those are the 5 that are brought forward to you tonight. The three issues that were brought up last week at our meeting, this would be item 2, 3, and 4. By doing those changes, we were able to increase the dollars in the equipment replacement fund. So we would put tax levy dollars into the equipment replacement fund of $95,193.
Thank you for that, Sabrina. Okay, so then I believe we have the option of addressing these changes before we continue on with any other potential conversations. Alder Wolf?
Thank you. So if I understand this correctly, then, since they were made at the finance budget meeting last week, they're not part of the budget as of right now, unless someone makes a motion, if that's what I heard and interpreted what you just said, right?
Okay, that is correct.
Okay, gotta put a motion on the floor in order to talk. I'm gonna pass because I
Well, let me verify with that. Let me verify. Is Rick and team, is that correct? Is this the budget changes from the 2026 budget, proposed budget submission? Are they part of the budget now before the committee?
And Amanda can correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is that the Administrative and Finance Committee made changes to the budget. Those
With-
changes were then pushed on to council. So the budget in front of you has these changes in it.
These changes are in this budget right now.
That's my understanding, but
I would agree with that.
Yeah, and so I apologize. Normally I'm a lot smoother with my presentation. I just started a little rough today, but we'll try to get back on track.
well,
So really, I guess the question is, do we want to put the budget? I'm not sure if we put the budget up first and then amend it, or,
I mean, historically, we have approved the budget changes. I mean, even
Yeah.
if they are in the budget, which is set for approval, we have approved these changes independently.
is it almost kind of like where like the chair of F, like we typically would do, he then reads like, these were the changes, this is what we did last week, kind of like a committee report, kind of? I don't know. This is weird.
well, I mean, it's already, these are I mean, I remember these changes as historically being presented and this body approving them. Or I guess theoretically not approving them, as the case may be.
If we look at number 4 on our cheat sheet that finance director gave us, motions may or may not be made by any actions taken at prior F and P special budget meeting.
Correct. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Okay,
Yes.
so
But then, oh, okay, let's go to Amanda since she's like the parliamentarian.
No, I guess I was just pointing that Kathy had her hand raised.
Oh, sorry, Kathy.
No, it's fine.
double checking.
Okay, Kathy, did you want to make a comment?
I'm comfortable making the motion to, if that's what we need to move forward. I mean, they're just changes to the previously approved budget based off of the amendments or the things that we had changed during the ANF meeting, right?
I think what we're trying to determine is what the motion should be. Should the motion be to, for example, should the motion be to approve the executive budget with the changes described on?
Nope, the
budget
motion should
changes?
just be to approve the budget changes.
Okay, so that's the motion. We want to know if we should approve these budget changes or not, or something like that. Okay, so Kathy, then why don't you go ahead so we can at least get a budget motion on the floor?
Okay, I'll move to approve the budget changes from the 2026 proposed budget submission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the budget changes from the 2026 proposed budget submission. Motion was made by Kathy Lohendorf. It was seconded by Jim Benash. Discussion. Alder Wolf.
Thank you again. I've given this a lot of consideration and thought about it, and I just have some concerns. I certainly understand why finance members made the motions and the decision that they did. That's before us this evening. I just have some concerns, and that is, and I'm just going to speak from my point of view. I haven't talked with anyone else. No one's asked me to make any remarks. These are just my thoughts and my thoughts alone. I would prefer that we would be more responsive and not reactive. And by that, I mean, the process is that our city administrator and department heads, 10 department heads, they meet through a number of months, get this whittled down. I have to trust, and I firmly believe that the budget, the balanced budget that came before this council back on the October 14th, 2024 council meeting was a good budget. I think it was probably the least amount of changes besides these that we've ever had. I mean, I thought it was just a really smooth process. And I think that process went so well because there was a lot of thought and effort and really good, honest input that was put into that. So I have to believe that at the end of the day, now this is our city administrator's second budget, his lone budget. I have to believe that he put forth those positions that he honestly felt needed some assistance, or we wouldn't have seen them. Because in these times nowadays, you know, we aren't just putting something in just to see whether it'll fly or not. I mean, what we have here are ones that are necessary, and they've been necessary for over a period of time, and they continue to be on our being proposed. So I'm going to draw a very quick parallel to this. I had a vehicle for 20 years and I just recently got rid of it. And every time I only drive like 2,500 miles a year. So my husband never wanted me to get oil changes every 6 months because he thought it was unnecessary. And to me, I looked at it was maintenance. And I was brought up on the dairy farm back in Illinois that if you take care of your things take care of you. I think all in all, we take really good care of our employees and our staffing and provide them, you know, the latest, the greatest, you know, equipment, whatever they need to get their job done, because I think that's what our job is, to set policy and approve budget. And I just think that and I don't look at the $95,193 lightly, but for that dollar amount, I think we can do a lot of good versus just putting it in the equipment replacement fund. Now, I realize that we have been using equipment replacement fund. That's what we've been using it for. But I just think I think if we don't continue to maintain and or try to present a work environment that is conducive to people being able to come to work every day, feeling good about coming to work every day, leaving at a decent time at night and getting up the next morning wanting to come back again, I think we may be short-sighted, and I think we could end up reacting within the next year or so if we don't go ahead and keep these positions. So I will not be supporting these positions or these cuts, excuse me. I certainly understand, and I will listen intently to those who will disagree with me, and I'm fine with that. But I will not be supporting tonight's budget if items 2, 3, and 4 stay in the budget for removal. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Stephen?
Very briefly. So, I mentioned it last week too, when it comes to these types of staffing positions, there's needs, there's wants. Nobody on the admin and finance questioned the need. Everyone recognizes the need, but needs and wants also have to fall within resources. And the issue we have is if we go forward with all these positions as requested, We will be reacting next year. We'll be reacting to figure out how we're going to come up covering a budget shortfall that we know is coming. And it'll be substantial because we've spent all of our additional resource all of our additional revenues from the wheel tax all in 1 year when that was never the intent. So it's not a matter of whether or not we need these positions. No one's questioning that. It's a matter of what can we afford, and I just don't think we can afford this. Yeah, I guess that's enough said. So
Thank you. Any other discussion? Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I would just like to say, like Rick, I think the budget put forth was great. I do really appreciate all the work and everybody that put time into it. Obviously, it's not just you, it's everybody in this room. Amy who's missing, everybody had to do the work. So what we were presented was great. I think once we started discussing things and Alder was, talking about some of these changes and saving some of this money and, how are we going to pay for it next year? And, you start kind of snowballing as you go. I just think that is why we decided to do this. Obviously, in the grand scheme of things, $95,000 isn't going to buy a new fire truck, isn't going to hire a new firefighter or, and pay for these things that we want to do. But overall, I think, what we're doing is just trying to, I think we're being more proactive by doing this way than reacting. And, one other counterpoint that was brought up to me was, we did this wheel tax. Part of the wheel tax is it's for the roads. It's for taking care of the things in our city. And one of our options on here was something for the street department. So, it does feel kind of counterintuitive when we look at removing that. But at the end of the day, I think what we're trying to do is set the city up for the best in the future. And that's kind of why I was supporting this. So I just want to say a few things, but thank you all for all of your work. I believe everything had to be submitted like in July. Is that right? For all department heads. So, I mean, it's a lot that you did. So I do appreciate that. So thank you.
Okay. Jim?
It's my understanding that we will not be taking each one of these changes, the human resources, police department, the street department individually. So if we vote to agree with the budget changes in the proposed budget submission, that pretty much takes care of it. We vote to accept it. And if all the council agrees, is that correct?
You could make an amendment to remove one or more of them. You could amend the motion.
Okay.
The motion on the floor is to approve that in the handout for clarification.
go, Kathy.
Okay, Kathy?
I just wanted to kind of mirror what everybody else is saying. You guys, sorry, I'm not good with microphones. You guys obviously it was a lot of work. This is a lot of information in here. And I know what it takes to be able to put a budget together. And, again, what Mike said, we appreciate and acknowledge that you guys definitely do need the assistance. We just need to figure out a long-term solution, because I think what's worse for morale and for the longevity of our employees is to see a layoff, a year and a half after we've hired somebody. Not only is that bad for, in morale, but it puts somebody else in a bad position too. And we don't want to do that to anybody. So, I'm not opposed to maybe amending something down the road and, adding those positions as we find the funding to do so.
Thank you for that. Okay, everybody's had one round, so we'll start the second round now. Stephen?
And this won't take long either. So, yeah, I don't recall a year since I've been here that we haven't made some changes to the proposed budget. I know last year was the only time I actually voted against a budget the whole time, and that was because we had submission from the finance director with recommendations on a cap, from the city administrator, which was a little higher than the finance director with recommendations and a cap. And we actually voted to spend more. So that was why I voted against it last year. But my point here is that I don't recall a year where we haven't questioned some items. But as a whole, we all agree it's great work. I mean, we accept 95, 98% of the submission coming in. Like, yeah, this makes sense. We just have a couple of questions here. So I don't think it's uncommon for us to question a few things. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve the budget changes from the 2026 proposed budget submission. Is there any other discussion? Okay, the voting will be by roll call.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Diane Wolf,
Nay.
Mike Milky,
Aye.
Jim Benash,
Aye.
Kathy Lowendorf.
Aye. Okay, the motion passes 4-1. Okay, so those changes have passed and are now considered included. And I'll ask if there's any other input from this Common Council to be considered with for the 2026 budget. That was my first ask.
Yeah, I'm going to move. I mean, we're in such a tight spot here and ultimately we're the ones who make the decisions. So I'm going to move to, well, no, that's later on. Never mind. It's later on the agenda. I'll get to it then.
Okay, second call, if there are any other changes to the 2026 budget that the counselors would like to make. Third call, if there are any other changes to the 2026 budget that the counselors would like to make. Okay, now that we've made those changes, I'll need to reopen the public hearing. So at this time, right, someone correct me if I mess up. At this time, I'd like to reopen our public hearing and ask if there is anyone from the public that would like to comment on the changes we've made to the 2026 budget. If you choose to do so, please begin by stating your name and your address. The public hearing has been reopened, and this is the second call for any members of the public that would like to comment on the 2026 budget and the changes. Third and final call for the public hearing for any member of the public that would like to comment on the 2026 budget and the changes that we just made. Okay, the public hearing is now closed. And there are no new opinions for us to consider. So then, I believe, unless someone wants to correct me, we can then move on to consider adopting the 2026 city budget.
Mayor, what
Point
about
of,
item 6?
yeah, point
Okay.
of clarification, Mayor, we would do item 6 first just because it impacts the budget.
Okay.
Even though it is included in the budget, we felt it appropriate to approve the resolution first.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, when you said item 6, I was on a different item 6. Okay, so we did number 5, and now we are on number 6, resolution 25-20. I see, okay. Resolution 25-2025, which is a resolution to increase salaries for the common council. And that's the next item on the agenda. Sorry, but thank you for helping me. I'm a little distracted. Would someone like to make a motion regarding that?
For discussion, I'd like to make a motion to increase the salaries for the common council for 2026.
Okay, so your motion is to approve resolution 25 dash.
For discussion, I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion has been made by Jim Benash and it's been seconded by Stephen Knott to approve resolution 25-2025, which is the resolution increasing the council salaries. Okay, Stephen Knott.
Yeah, so I know at the committee last week, I voted to approve. I think tonight I'm going to vote to disapprove. And the main reason is ultimately we're responsible for the financial status of the city. And I'm not sure that we're in a healthy position right now. And I don't know if I can in good conscience be voting for a salary increase that would include myself until such a time as we can come up with a more permanent solution to how we're going to address our challenges in the future. So I'll be voting against it.
Thank you. Any other comment, Kathy?
I actually am in the same boat. I can't in good faith say that we can't increase hours and then take a raise. I mean, it doesn't impact me this time around if I choose to go in the future, but I just don't think that we're financially in a position where if we could save that a little bit extra, then I think it'll help.
Thank you. Mike Milky?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in the same boat. After doing like some number crunching, I mentioned earlier, we're putting $95,000 back in the equipment replacement fund. With the quick calculation of this, with the 6 members and the council president, it's about $6,500 that we can also put back in there. So again, I'm in the same boat, and I wish I would have done it the first time, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Alder Wolf?
Thank you, Your Honor. All I have to add is, for those who haven't been here as long as I have, we used to go 10, 12, 1 year, it was like 16 years before this council even got like $100 raise. And it was decided by a couple previous councils ago that rather than we have to fight about it and have this very uncomfortable discussion every so many decades or whatever, that it was decided that the best thing to do, the easiest thing to do to just kind of relieve that pressure for everyone was, for example, those who are up for reelection this next year would then receive whatever non-union for the past 2 years received. So I guess in all fairness, I would hope if those who are in support of not approving Resolution 25-2025, that they certainly are going to have the same feeling the following year.
Well, this affects me.
No,
I got it.
no, this doesn't affect you.
Sure it does. I was elected this year.
No, this is those who elect, am I reading this wrong?
You don't get it the year you're elected, I thought.
It
Next
would be for those elected in April. It will impact those who are up for reelection in April.
Yes, so it'd be Alder Wolf, Alder Milky, and
Well,
Alder, I'm just saying.
no, in good faith, if you want, I'll give up whatever raise I got with COLA for this year. I'll apply that next year. You can decrement it. That's fine.
I just, anyway, I just want to give the brief history of why we were at that. So then
Yeah.
that way, because it is a really uncomfortable thing to do and to talk about and such. And, anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve the resolution. Approving the resolution leaves the salary increase intact as scheduled. The motion will be by roll call, voting. Answer when your name is called.
Jim Benash,
Nay.
Kathy Loendorf,
Nay.
Diane Wolf,
Abstain.
Mike Milky,
Nay.
Stephen Knott.
Nay.
Okay, motion fails with 4 no votes and 1 abstention. Okay, now we're at item 7, the approval of the 2026 city budget.
I'll move to approve. Oh. Am I premature?
I guess just a point of order, Sabrina, would you then want them to make a change to allocate the council salary to a different line item, or do you want to address that after the budget is approved?
Great question. So technically, we could do another budget change. It is a small dollar amount. It's $1,271.39. And no, I didn't just come up with that, but Alder Loendorf asked me earlier today, so thank you. So I could have that number in my back pocket. So technically, that additional $1,271.39 would go into the equipment replacement fund. So I would have to adjust the resolution. That is the next item on the agenda. If you would like me to do that, we most definitely can, and we can take a quick recess and I could come back with a new resolution for the mayor to sign.
Would that require another public hearing then?
Yes.
Yeah, then we'd have to go to public hearing.
It's a good one.
Okay, Alder Wolf? The resolution failed everybody, the motion was to approve. The resolution included both. Alderman Ash?
Is this already included in the budget? I mean, you're already,
It was.
it
Yes.
was.
The increase was, yes.
Can't you just make a motion to accept the city budget with the idea that the resolution failed? And the funds would go into the replacement fund?
Yes, if
Keep
you
it
would like to turn what you just said into a motion, you could do
Yeah.
exactly that.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't there already a motion made?
There's no motion on the floor right now.
I'd like to
Um,
make that motion.
Okay, we just need to direct staff what to do with that money. So you can have them just leave it in there. Yep.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that the money that was going to go to the salary increase for the common council be put in the replacement fund for the budget of 2026.
Second.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so the motion on the floor made by Jim Benash, second by Alder Knott, is to put that dollar savings into the equipment replacement fund. Alder Wolf?
Thank you. I just want to make sure that I understand this right. So when Sabrina mentioned the $1,271.99, that is the savings by not approving item 1 and 2 on the resolution.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Let the record show that Larry Jurassic has joined the meeting. Okay, so under discussion, what we had talked about was perhaps just leaving the money in that, on that line item, because it could be adjusted, transferred later. But now that we have this motion, we'll have to then do the transfer and we'll have to go back to public hearing. So is there any more discussion on moving the money to the equipment replacement fund? Alder Knott?
Sort of. So I'd mentioned that in good faith, with Diane, I'd be glad to surrender, I guess, whatever raise I got in 2026 or 2025.
Okay.
And can I direct that also goes into the equipment replacement fund? Is that something I can do?
You will just sign a waiver after the meeting, a little thing later saying that you're basically going to donate that money back to the city and then we'll deal with it later.
Yeah, I think you can do that independently
Okay.
outside of
All
this
right.
meeting. You don't need to make a public declaration. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, so the motion on the floor is to move the money to the equipment replacement fund. So we'll do voting on that by roll call.
Kathy Loendorf.
Aye.
Stephen Knott.
Aye.
Mike Milky.
Aye.
Jim Benash.
Aye.
Diane Wolf.
Abstain.
Okay.
Since
Um,
Alder Jurassic wasn't here for the
yeah,
motion, I won't have him
okay.
vote.
So there were 4 votes in favor, 1 abstention, and Larry Jurassic did not vote since he was not here for the discussion. So that motion passes. And we'll go back into public hearing then. So I'll now reopen the public hearing with that change to the budget, moving the money from the salary increases to the equipment replacement fund. I'm reopening the public hearing. If there's any members of the public who would like to address the Common Council regarding this change to the budget, now is the time to do so. Please begin by stating your name and your address. Second call for any members of the public who would like to address the Common Council regarding the change to the budget. Amanda, you don't see anyone online, do you? Third and final call for anyone wishing to speak during the public hearing regarding these most recent budget changes. Thank you. The public hearing is now closed. Now, item 7.
I will move to approve the 2026 city budget.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf to approve the 2026 city budget. Is there discussion? Not seeing or hearing any? Please answer when your name is called.
Jim Benash,
Aye.
Kathy Lohendorf. Aye. Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Mike Milky,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
Aye.
Diane Wolf.
Nay.
Okay, motion passes 5-1 with a simple majority. Okay, item number 8 is resolution 26-2025. Is this where you need us to pause?
Yeah, for just like 2 minutes.
Okay, so we'll just pause here for a moment while Sabrina reconfigures the numbers because of the changes that we made. She needs to update the resolution to the proper values for that resolution, and then we'll get ready to do the action for that. But thank you, everyone. Let's see. No, the total is gonna stay the same. Not that, this one, right here, equipment replacement fund is gonna be changed because that is gonna add on that money from the, I think that was the only, because this, she already put this into there, so it would just be that $1,200 or whatever she said. We'll change that.
You can just read the change. Yeah.
So do you want me to read the whole thing? It's the resolution. Do you want me to read the resolution into the record?
The entire. Just know, like, maybe make note that those are the 2 changes.
Okay.
And then I'll print it.
Okay,
Rena, you want to give me
Reading
the
these
number?
things then,
okay,
not reading the whole thing.
No.
Okay.
those were the updated numbers.
Okay, it changes to the. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're getting ready to come back online now. Our finance director has updated the number, what needed to be changed for our resolution, which authorizes the appropriation of the necessary funds for the operating budget for the city of Onalaska. So with that being said, go ahead. Jim Benash is going to make the motion.
On resolution 26-2025, resolution authorizing the appropriation of necessary funds for the operation of the city for the year 2026. A change was made to whereas tax $7,080,313. All the taxable property within the city of Onalaska as returned by the assessor in the year 2026 for the uses and purposes set forth in the 2026 general fund budget. Another change to resolution 26-2025 was or is, whereas a tax of $96,464 on all the taxable property within the city of Onalaska as returned by the assessor in the year 2026 for the uses and purposes set forth in the 2026 equipment replacement fund budget. All other resolution within 26-2025 remained the same.
Thank you for that, Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion as described by Jim Benash. It's been seconded by Stephen Knott. Is there further discussion? Mike Milky?
Thank you, Mayor. Sabrina, just real quick, I know he went with the amendment, we just put the total. Could you just state what those changes are, the dollar amounts for each of those two line items?
Yeah.
Please.
So, for the general fund tax levy, that decreased by $1,271. And then we increased by $1,271 in the equipment replacement fund.
Thank
The
you.
number I had calculated was $1,271.39. So I just changed it by the 1,271.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you for that clarifying question. Any other discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve. Please answer when your name is called.
Larry Jurassic,
I,
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Diane Wolf,
Nay.
Mike Milky,
I,
Jim Benash,
Aye.
Kathy Loendorf.
Motion passes 5-1. Item number 9 is adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
second.
Okay, motion by Stephen Knott, seconded by Mike Milky to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. The time is 6:41. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. Thank you for your discussion.